Gavan. Hello and welcome. I'm your GM in the Great Barrier, and I welcome you brave souls back to another episode of Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword. That is to say, another session of Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword, where we are on part 5 of our current episode, Chal, DISovjaj. Before we get in, usual customary acknowledgements. The first of those going to the ship's engineer, Raldar, who streams on their channel Zyla OXO. How's the tabletop campaign going there, Caligo?
Why haven't more of my players died? And this is unacceptable. I will fix this.
Wait, do you want the players to die or their characters to die?
No comment.
Our own OverlandGamer, Mr. Azek Korg himself. Joe, how are things going over there, and how is the new YouTube channel coming?
Good so far. I've been doing shorts on it for AI shorts for a while, and I just uploaded a music video that I made with Suno, AI, and CapCut. So using Fallout 4 as the video background. So just playing around with it, see how it goes. It's a faceless YouTube channel, all about QA and just sharing my experiences with it. And I plan on testing some different stuff on some of the longer form videos, but going pretty good. I'll throw a link in the chat here in just a sec.
Yeah, we'll see where all that goes. Until then, we have a Star Trek adventure that we have to get through tonight, possibly even finish up. So let's get right into it. As we come back to the adventure, we are back aboard the Yawn, a ship in orbit at present over a pelagic world, one predominantly covered in ocean, save for handfuls of islands throughout the surface, and one of those may still hold your quarry, a Klingon known only to Tabak as Shuvot. Unfortunately, the island seems to have a few more Klingons, and even worse, a contagion of some sort. A blue, wispy-like life form that seems to generate some sort of energy field, and that upon exposure has begun affecting the crew in ways that you're yet to fully understand. Only so far as you can observe is that from the doctor's case, you understand that it is that those who carry it seem to share some sort of collective hallucination, or something on that nature. Raldar and his assistant engineer, Kalsha, have also seen warriors afflicted by it, and one who, strangely enough, despite being armed with a batleth, seemed unwilling to use it for its lethal purpose. So it was only just recently Raldar has been brought back to the ship. The medical bay is in quarantine, and all of you are trying to race to figure out how to contend with this plague before it winds up spreading to the ship, possibly leaving you with the same fate as the bird of prey sunk below the waves, or potentially worse. It's difficult to say, but in any case, I think that it makes sense to just get right in from there. So, let's kind of go round the horn to think about this. As far as who might want to, well, I suppose it might make sense, Caligo, if you are interested. You've been kind of out of the loop for a fair bit of time because you've been stuck down on the planet's surface and the crew has been very busy. You've only just been updated to the situation, particularly that the ship is under partial quarantine, or that it's advised that you keep wearing your EVA suit. Would you like to start us off going anywhere in particular? Or trying to engage with anyone?
Well, I think first step would be bringing the log of battle to our captain.
Very good, very good. I can definitely do that. So we'll bring
Or
you...
taking it to engineering to format it.
Okay. Do you want to, do you want to invite Tabak down to the engine room for a scene, or would you want to come up to the bridge after some time that has happened? How would you prefer to run with that?
I think I will notify them that I'm back on board and going to be formatting the log of battle and conveying what I had heard from the warrior down below.
Okay. Tabak, upon hearing this, would you just want to stay on the bridge, or would you figure, with nothing else going on, that it would make sense to go down to the engine room? Just, question as to whether you want to engage, or whether you want to make more of a scene of the thing.
Why is he going to engineering and not coming to the bridge?
I think he was going to find an equipment interface down there to process the log of battle. Yeah, same way that Jordy would do all sorts of engineering projects or those sorts of things down in the engine room, just cause.
Yep, I got you. So yeah, I'll if he is let me know that he's here and he has that, I'll come down and take a listen.
All right.
I am.
I mean, I'm not the captain of the Yon at the moment, but I still have all of my access.
Yes, the captain is presently belting out the sickest tunes that this side of the beta quadrant. So
Yeah, he's indisposed, I hear.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we'll just to basically guide us back to the point. Tabak, Raldar will. By the time you're down there, Raldar will have the record playing out, and you will see the final account of the Klingon that, from what you know, died on the beaches. That basically stated he had deliberately sabotaged the bird of prey and sent it into the landing that put it under the beaches, and intentionally did everything he could basically to sabotage the craft. The most curious and perhaps troubling part of this would be how he says that they didn't even fight him on this. There's an utter disgust, disdain, and this engineer in his final hours rued how nobody seemed to make a serious effort to stop him from destroying the ship, or doing effectively that. So with that playing out, the message cuts out, fades to black, and you are left to digest this. This, I'm sure, being one of a handful of puzzling bits of information that you've received in the past few hours.
Is there any other data on this? Any other entries? Logs of where they went? Or was this the only message you were able to extract?
Yeah, man.
Kelshaw pipes up here. We thought it more prudent to determine the last record from the log in order to discern its fate, and if provided that it was intact and not suggesting any imminent threat, we thought that we could potentially work backwards from that.
Working backwards would work. Working backwards would work wonders if we had more information. It's a good attempt, though.
Yeah. I will say, if you want to attempt a task, basically I'll give you for free, since you have the log of battle, a couple points of information that you can obtain. So if you want to ask specific questions about the bird of prey, then I can give you some answers.
Okay. What I want to know, I want a crew manifest I want to see if the dude I'm looking for is listed as being a member of the crew, or a captive, or a prisoner, or a slave, or a civilian, or advisor. I just want to know if he was on board the ship, whatever his role was.
Yep.
Um,
I will say that you check the crew manifest. Per any bird of prey in this era, and really most eras, like a ship of this scale, you would expect the dozen officers and men style complement, and it's very much that. It seems as though one member of the crew, it looks like a junior sensor officer, was scrubbed from that manifest at some point, but you were able to find an older record, and the dating on that suggests that it coincides with the time that the bird of prey made a course change that would take it towards this planet.
all right. Second question, if I'm allowed a second question.
There are 2 questions I have given you for this for free.
Okay. Well, that was my first one.
Mhm.
Second one being, what was their course? Like, what were the last... I want to project their course, see what planets they stopped at, and maybe figure out if they stopped somewhere weird and picked up the blue floaty things, or maybe they stopped someplace where there's a science lab or a defense force facility. Like maybe they picked up something illicit or illegal or black market.
Fair enough. It seems like most of their activity was on the. It seems like most of their activity was in the what some beyond the Empire's borders refer to as the quote-unquote disputed area, particularly the zone along the fringes of the Empire, some of which extends into nominal Federation space, other parts that fall under other powers. There's the... You've probably heard a little of the Rungovian Protectorate. There's also dozens and dozens of independent worlds settled by various powers. Well,
Does that
not
also
so much
include
powers, but
where those... Sorry, I interrupted.
quite all right. Basically, settlers from different planets all over the place. Humans, Klingons, even an independent Suliban colony somewhere out in the Triangle area.
Is that also where the those really wacko people that my
No,
uncle went and joined?
they are in. They do operate in the disputed zone. Last you checked, or the such that there's any sort of seat to what you think might have been the House of Girhak, or whether it's Girja. No, Girja. That's what it is. As far as you know, that house is largely defunct. It's a great house that's seen much better days.
Yeah, but there's
But
those fanatics that are out there.
Yeah. They're much further away in the disputed zone, or in a different place along the fringe. Well, clear. It's highly unlikely they had anything to do with them. The course that they seem to have taken suggests a fairly standard raiding pattern. I would, if any of you would like to attempt a an insight plus engineering task, then I could give you a little bit more of their earlier operation. The issue being that you need to piece together a little bit more of the record.
Insight engineering.
Yes.
Insight and engineering.
Who leads?
I have a
Who
9 and
assists?
a 4.
For me, that would be a 10 and a 5.
You would be better.
Want to help?
I will help. I will assist.
All right.
Okay.
And what does the ship assist as well, or do I only get one assist?
You may technically take the assist from the ship as well. I think engineering and computers would go away towards reconstructing the log. I am taking from Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition the rule that when you are conducting a shipboard task, you can have one person assisting plus the ship.
Ah, okay. None of my focuses appear to apply. Roller, do any of yours apply?
Computers.
That would work.
Yet.
All right.
Here's my roll.
Uh,
Have a couple of threat. Get rid of that.
Okay, I will take some threat. That will give me 2 more points for a total of 10 points of threat.
Yep. And I'll roll for the ship here. I apologize. I was looking for mine. What was it again for the ship?
Engines plus, not engines, computers plus engineering.
All right. Oh, that's a 50-50 right there. All right, ship. Help out this time. Nope.
Let's see. Just to check on that dice roll, because it seems like it didn't select the department properly. No, that was a 14. That still wouldn't have helped. Okay, so that doesn't quite go a full ways towards constructing the log. It does seem like their course... it seems like their course had taken them kind of from the... that northernmost salient of the Empire, a region of space that you kind of occupy. As far as you can tell, the bird of prey did pass through, did come from that end of space, which is a little more consistent from what you know about the Kuroth. They operate basically, a lot of their operations have been further westward in the Empire. Though their ships are showing up in different odd places. Gleden 2 is a place that was much further, or rather, their operations are more kind of due east of that salient, basically, that would border the Romulans. They tend to operate... it's weird that they showed up in a further western, quote-unquote, location, or Gleden 2 being an instance of that. But it seems like when they came from basically that northern salient of the Empire, operated in the disputed zone, and then were on a return course, and were probably headed on a slightly different way back when they made a turn towards this planet, possibly giving chase in some manner.
What would suggest that the ship was giving chase?
Well, at the very least, they made a... the inference would be that that is about the time when this junior censors officer, whom you suspect is likely Chauveau,
Yeah.
left the... appears to have been removed from the record of active crew. That coincides with the course change that brought the bird of prey to this planet. So maybe chase is a little too presumptuous, but it certainly seems
It did a
like...
sudden course. It did a sudden course change.
Yes, they were going out of their
At
way
that
to
point.
come here. Precisely.
All right. More questions, not enough answers. Thank you, Raldner. I didn't see that one data cluster over there. Good thing you grabbed her. We would have learned nothing.
The damage was extensive, so things are bound to get mixed up.
If we can get out of this, is there enough left of the thing to salvage for spares? Obviously, we're not getting it up out of the ocean, but can we get parts off of it? Raldner?
Maybe. It's hard to say. He was very thorough in the stuttling.
It would have been much more thorough to just turn off antimatter containment.
Who's to say his reasoning, but
I'd say he had some last vestige of hope.
there's still the question about the warrior me and Kelshaw found on the planet below.
Which one?
We investigated the signal that was, detected inside the volcano,
Oh, yes.
and we found a warrior practicing his batlith techniques. However, when we spoke to him, he was talking about teaching, and he knew things he should not have known.
Such as?
Names of our crew. Dar counted among those names.
I do not even believe I have entered Dar into the order of battle for the ship or mentioned him by name in any log. Interesting. Did he seem to face the same, or did he seem to present the same bizarre symptoms as any of the others that we found on the surface? Or be surrounded by the strange blue lights?
I think he was very resilient to getting angry. We tried goading him in his warrior spirit. He would relent rather quickly.
Was he in uniform?
Yes, he was a
What-
member of the ship.
What rank did he hold?
Honestly,
Even Klingons have like rank badges that go on the collars, these little circle things.
I do think he had dropped any sort of insignia that he had, so
So he was in uniform, but it was a bare uniform.
yeah.
No house markings, no rank markings.
He kept obsessing about teaching the art of the blade to something. He would not elaborate when pressed on exactly who, but he was obsessed with educating and asking about telling our story.
So did that old man that we found. He talked incessantly about stories. He even complained that the fish that he ate raw had no stories to tell. Of course, after he ate it, he spit out he spit out a blue floaty thing. That was when we got out of there.
Very curious. This contagion of some variety, I think it is connected in ways that is very unorthodox.
The fact that it's connected, and I have some suspicions, but I have
If
no
I-
confirmation on them.
I'm no biologist or doctor, but if I were to guess, it might be a living virus or bacteria of some kind.
It reminds me of the concept of distributed processing,
Let's
where
see.
you don't have one massive computer core, but lots of smaller ones interconnected.
I agree.
It appears to be, I don't know if it's multiple life forms functioning as a virus or a single life form functioning as a virus. But everything it connects to, it learns, it seems to want to learn what it can. I just don't know if it ever wants to let go once it learns something.
And it's capable of communicating over vast distances by means we have yet to ascertain.
If it's some form of telepathy, or even simply some form of entanglement, we don't have the tools or the technology to figure that out right now. But I still need to find my quarry. All right.
Before you...
Raldar? Yep.
I was just going to say, before you go, with the expenditure of... I'll ask for... Oh, I feel like that opening up an avenue like this might or should cost a little more. At the expenditure of 2 threat, would you like the GM to interject with something here?
Something that we may have forgotten?
Something maybe relevant. That would be an in-character interjection. I am not introducing anything new. No Romulans are decloaking here. Don't think about the Borg.
Don't think about the board. Right, you say that, what's the first thing going to pop into our heads? Sure, I'll risk it. Why not?
All right, the GM graciously accepts your threat. If it's a processor of sorts we're dealing with, then could there be some way to short it out? Then, Kelshaw postulates.
Like an electromagnetic pulse of some kind?
Perhaps not precisely that, but if this something means to keep us prisoner, I refuse to be taken as such. We do know that that this entity apparently is tied to some sort of energy field.
Yes, we detected that energy field on the surface. It seemed to interfere with our scanners. I hand her my scanner, tricorder, whatever doodad we're calling it here. This has all of the data that I managed to find as far as that energy field goes. See if you can see if you see Raldar. You see if you and Kalsha can figure out some way to interrupt their connection.
I see.
Disrupt it. I'm going to go back down to the surface in my suit.
Even with that, are you certain that is wise, Chakwi?
Well, no. But I have an idea. Unfortunately, Azek seems to be affected by it and is currently trapped in lockdown in the sickbay with Kresik. So I walk. Tabak walks. Goes to the panel right there, pushes a set of buttons that seem to have absolutely no connection towards one another. Computer, transfer command authorizations to Raldar. Discontinue all shutdown procedures. Tabak 005.
And with that, a computer alert sounds. And
Raldar, the ship will now not shut down until you get back, until you either crash it or you get back to Vector. If we can't
Understood.
get rid of this thing somehow, you're just going to have to scuttle the ship somehow. Because I will not risk this getting off of this world and out by us.
I will take all necessary procedures.
Look at my face. I know what can happen with some bizarre contagion spreading uncontrolled. You understand me? I will not have it happen again.
Affirmative.
So I'm going back down to the surface. If you cannot figure out a means of containing this, right now I believe our only exposure is in sickbay. I would say, hold on a minute.
interlude time, everyone.
Perished.
This is actually the perfect moment for me to add in something that I did specifically for the Aegis crew, I think, this past weekend, and I will do the same here now.
All right. So anyway, sorry, interrupted. So as I was saying, the exposure seems to be limited to sickbay for now. If you cannot disrupt the energy source, or maybe destroying the quote-unquote hosts would destroy it as well, I would recommend flooding sickbay with engine plasma.
Understood.
If that won't work either, turn off antimatter containment. Unless you can, if you can get rid of it, and I'm not back on board the ship, eventually get back to Mektor and the ship will shut down. Understood?
Understood.
Tabak to transporter room.
Oh yes, transporter room here. Hello, my lord.
Get ready. I'm beaming down to the surface into the middle of that caldera.
Oh,
As long as the life form is still there.
I mean, we can definitely do that for you. I will just say I'm having quite the time. Well, I had quite the time trying to bring people back up. I don't know I'll be able to bring you back up easily, Chokwi. Not that I won't do my best, but more the energy field just grows more intense. You know, I'll do my best.
Has the range of the transporter been reduced? Would it be easier if we dropped altitude?
I wouldn't say it's been reduced, but maybe with decreased altitude or with more power, we could possibly do that. Whatever you'd wish to do, Chokwi.
Stand by. Tabak to bridge.
Fall break here, Captain.
Is our pilot at his station?
I'll just see here from the back window. Yes, boss.
We're gonna need to drop altitude. We may need to enter the atmosphere. I don't want to, but you can take us to the outermost atmospheric layers and get us into orbit over that caldera, assuming that the life form is still in the middle of it. Is it, Voprai?
I am still reading the life form in the caldera. There is still a Klingon down there.
All right, get us as low as you can without taking us into the thicker parts of the atmosphere. I'm gonna beam down there. Raldar, give the transporter the extra energy it's going to need.
Do you intend to go alone?
Yes. The
Understood.
less exposure we have, the better.
Understood.
All right. And with that, Tabok exits the room, going to seeking to challenge or engage with this life form in whatever manner he thinks may be most effective. Meanwhile, Raldar, you and Kelshaw have his readings and an idea that... Whoop, I didn't mean to cloak you there.
I've been kidnapped.
Raldar retconned out of reality
Again.
for a few moments.
Kidnapped. Oh,
Raldar, you have the readings from the captain from your own scanners and possibly a means, a weapon that can defeat this presence, this manifestation, and allow you to preserve your glory and to spare you the fate of that former warrior you left below. Let's go elsewhere around the ship as this process gets started. When we come back to you, Raldar, we can have you work out something in terms of... we can set up a task for you to work out something with the weapon, or however you'd like to do it. As a matter of fact, if you want to take this time, work out a Trekno-babbly pitch on how to use some system in the ship to affect things, I'm prepared to basically give you that, and it will give you the advantage that there might be a way of going about that if that's the track you want to pursue.
perhaps some sort of extended task of variety.
We could do that. We could make that work.
Perhaps of the cement mixer variety.
Oh dear.
So we filled the medical bay with cement. Understood.
Dar will eat it. It's okay.
Yeah.
He will grow strong like concrete.
Here we go. Oh. Where did it go? There, I need that. I need that to keep playing here. There, it's supposed to... There, let it loop for a moment. For those of you that are in the Discord here, those of you that are the players, you don't see what I have wrought.
It's fucking monkey's paw.
Yes. Now they get to enjoy it too. Oop. Too deep. All right. There we go. The monkey's paw is now visible for our friends in chat as well, and we'll just have that popped up. But yes, the Raptor Screech, who joins us in chat, raises a very good question. But what kind of concrete? Well, stay tuned for that, and we'll figure that out. In the meantime, speaking of concrete, let's go check on sickbay, where the situation continues at its present pace. Azek is currently just absolutely parched from his... and, like, your throat is practically hoarse and raw from several rounds of drinking songs that I think that... the pain from it is an experience you don't like. It's an experience that that this other presence doesn't like. Dar doesn't like it either. He hasn't even been singing and he feels it. Same with the patient in the bed there. But the things have finally started quieting down in there. Kresic, the inmates appear to be calming down, and the asylum is quieting a little bit. So maybe you can get some goddamn peace and quiet for a moment.
Are there random we don't have replicators, right?
I think that in the
No.
era there are, like, the technology for, like, protein synthesizers exists, but replicator units are not widely distributed. They're certainly not so much on Klingon vessels, and not an old fixer-upper like this one.
I'm too poor for that.
Yeah, I mean, the Federation at this time has really, really rapid 3D printers with multiple materials and the food processors.
I very much like the Edge of Midnight interpretation, which does say there is a like something in between that and the more modern replicator technology, but that the power and computational systems are kind of a little bit whack, or like they don't quite interface so well.
The computers are just not fast enough or small enough.
Yeah. All the computers they have,
their computers are way better than anything we have. They're just not. They don't have the data storage capability of replicators.
Yeah.
I mean, a steak has that's a lot of data.
Yeah. In any case, Azek,
That's something that's something I don't think any of us have been told before. Not fast enough or small enough.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Azek in particular is SOL, and I momentarily let's see. Momentarily, I break my own rule there. There we go.
Is with Azek being thirsty and under the influence of whatever it is in his head, he's kind of I foresee him being a little frustrated at the situation, and obviously we can't leave sickbay, right?
No, not at present.
Are there and this is probably dangerous to do, but whatever. Are there like liquid vials and stuff around?
Kresik, what sort of liquid might you keep around accessible in sickbay, if any, or projects that would not be ideal?
Cleaning supplies.
Saline.
His
lots and lots of saline.
Yeah, cleaning supplies, IV solutions.
Bleach for the occasional injection.
No, he doesn't do that anymore. That was before he learned the truth of bleach injections. Just not concentrated here enough here.
Yes.
There wouldn't be any source of clean water. Thanks, Wo.
So yeah, mostly it would either be cleaning items or like very simple emergency triage things, IV fluids, and maybe some, like a few small vials.
Oh dear, you're
painkillers.
I don't know if it's just me, but you are going super robotic for a moment there.
Yeah, it went robot for me.
Uh-oh, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Maybe some small vials of like fast-acting painkillers as well. Nothing like super strong.
Okay.
But the biggest liquid things would either be cleaning solutions or IV bags.
I'll go. I won't make that roll then. He'd know better than to do that. I was gonna have us roll some kind of a mental thing to see if he doesn't go drink some of that stuff, but he's smarter than that. Yeah. I'm gonna go over to the comm badge and comm DuPont, please.
Yes, go right ahead. Yes, Captain.
Can you we're kind of stuck here in the sick bay, and I know Traven has some blood wine in the mess stores. Could you happen to transport some of that here, please?
Oh dear. Well, I suppose the captain's not here. Do you want me to try and beam it from one site and just put it over there, or retrieve it? The Lord Tabok is due to come to the transporter room any moment now, and I am fearful about leaving my post.
No, site-to-site transport, please.
Oh dear, this will be
We're
quite
quite thirsty, but wait until Tabak is off the ship before you proceed to do this. Shut up, voice in my head. I'm gonna tell a story as soon as I get some more blood wine. Shut up. After Tabak's gone, then just site-to-site transport some blood wine down here, and yeah.
We'll do, sir. We'll definitely do. I'm sorry, now I can't help but think that everybody's been reflexively pushing the ship-wide comms button. Oh.
Oh, at this point, I mean, it's up to you. If everybody on the ship heard that, that's fine. It's the voice in my head probably messing with me. It would be funnier that way, so go right ahead.
Yes, we agree. It would be funnier. So yes, Tabak whilst taking the lift up to the crew deck with the transporters, you hear a scheme is in the works to move move some of the blood wine supply in a questionable use of the transporters.
This was said out loud.
This
Wait a minute.
this
Yeah,
was we broadcasted over ship-wide.
Huh. I pushed the communication button on the suit. Countermand that. The blood wine stays where it is.
Can I also push a button?
You can go right ahead. The ship-wide button is made too accessible, so I see no reason not to.
I'm gonna hit the button and I'm gonna say, DuPont, you haven't been on the ship long, so I'm gonna go on ahead and tell you, don't ever touch my supplies unless I say so. And on a second note, Azik, you do that again, you'll lose another arm. And then cut it off.
Traven has left the chat.
I thought I was the captain, and then the comms kind of go blank, and then as it kind of goes out in the corner.
I don't like how that made you feel either. A reassuring voice comes in the back of your mind.
Would Azik know if there's like the Klingon equivalent to a Jeffries tubes here?
Oh.
The closest thing on board this vessel to the Jeffries tubes is the underdeck underneath the neck of the ship, because they've got the power conduits and the track that carries torpedoes to the launcher in the front from the magazine at the base of the neck. And there are a couple of access tunnels, or not tunnels, access corridors in the wings to get out to the nacelles, but that in this particular ship is just about it. Mostly everything is just accessible through wall panels.
Yeah.
So there really wouldn't be a way to sneak out of this room besides the front door.
Certainly not after it's under lockdown.
Yeah, which could be bypassed with some effort. And I think Dar and your the patient in the biobed, if allowed to be unrestrained, would come to your aid.
I'll have to think about that.
Yep.
He's looking at the restraints, or Azik is looking at the restraints on the our patient there, and he's devising a plan. And if it works out well, this would be a good time for the scene to kind of close and then go to whoever next you need, unless the doc needs a scene or something.
Azik, as you look over the tasty restraints, let's check in with the doctor for a moment. Kresic, I'm actually trying to remember exactly where we are now, as I've momentarily lost my place in the notes. You had at least managed to stall your own exposure to the Kuvat, or not the Kuvat plague, but rather
The Kuvat plague. Oh no, it's been revealed.
Kresic is smooth boy now.
No, my scales.
You've managed to avoid. You've managed to stall out the exposure to this contagion, despite being exposed when Dar projectile vomited in your sickbay, and exposed all of you to the same spores. Nonetheless, you know that things are proceeding at pace, and you have a sense that at least some of the crew is working on this. I would like to say that you've been in touch with Traven, though it's unclear how much progress is being made. The only thing you know is that Azek is apparently taking orders now. That is to say, placing orders for room service. He has not found your clean water stash.
Yeah, that's in my private room where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Nobody touches that.
Yeah. Anything that you are pondering right now?
Have I been able from this to deduce that there is a shared consciousness from what we know? That's pretty much determined in some way, right?
I think that from the observation, and as dreadful as it would be for the doctor, I think that you have had to dedicate yourself to observing their conduct. There is compelling evidence for exactly that, and seemingly very interesting cognitive effects, most particularly with Dar, who his socialization has been a slow process. He has not tried to eat a member of the crew in some time, but he isn't quite what you would take around what goes for polite society in the Klingon Empire. That being said, he does appear to be much more friendly, verbose, and there's a bit of a demeanor change, I'd say.
Quick question.
Yes.
My memory could be playing wrong. Did Kresic go through the scans that I sent him?
That's what I have two things that I need to do. I need to go through what Traven sent me, and then I need to start forming, as best as I know how, mental blocks in my own mind.
Fair enough. Let's see. I'm attempting to remember what Traven pulled together. I think it was... or just
I know the rolls were good.
I'm sorry?
I know the rolls were good, but that's it.
I think that what your efforts, Traven, had uncovered is that this is... You were basically sent information to Kresic that showcases this is effectively, it's not quite analogous to other life forms, but I think that the nearest one would be something fungal in nature. Something that is, something with broad compatibility with other forms of life, and with that seems to generate some sort of energy field intrinsically. So that's, if memory serves, that is the record that you are getting from the cook / science officer's scanning details that have been sent along.
So I think at that point, what I would be doing is I would be working with Traven and passing him on details for the more common antifungal fungicides that would be used, and having him run simulations with what he can in order to see which, if any, work at destroying this matter, killing this matter.
Indeed, indeed. Transmitting the last set based on the information that you have. You wait for Traven's reply as he starts conducting those scans. As you do, you actually feel a bit of reassurance about this process. You think things could go well. You generally feel a bit of warmth, almost like a hand against your shoulder in a metaphorical sense, and looking through the data, waiting for a reply. You get the words. This story seems most complicated.
Nope, not doing that. So yeah, at this point, is there anything that I would roll for like mental fortitude test to try to block off certain bits and pieces?
I'll give you two options. First, if you would like to attempt a riskier double dose of the solution, or perhaps something more intense, I could give you a difficulty 2 control plus... actually, I would make this daring plus medicine task. Alternatively, you can attempt a control plus command task. That I am going to raise to a difficulty of 4. I will say there will be threat spending with the medical solution, shall we say, the more daring route, because that is it is just a tad more risky.
Right. We're gonna try the control and command. You said.
Yes.
We're gonna try the control and command.
Okay. You may attempt control plus command with a difficulty of 4.
Would my paranormal phenomena focus count?
I mean, you're pretty sure it's not going on, but I guess if Kresic is that superstitious...
Or my psychoanalysis focus, to be able to basically analyze myself and figure out how to do this.
I think that is more viable.
One day.
We got to use it once last year.
One day.
It's okay. That's my fun. That's my for fun focus.
Yep.
Let's see. And I'm going to give you a threat for a third die.
Very well. The GM gets a lucky 13 amount of threat.
Control and command, you said?
Correct.
That ain't it.
No, that many things.
If
there.
he's using does the ship help at all?
No, this is internal mental stuff that I'm trying to do.
He's using his brain mark meat brain Mark 1.
Yep.
Do is there? Do you have anything that will let you re-roll one of those?
Nope.
Zeros?
Nope.
Try to start playing some classical music.
You still have your determination, right?
Kresic,
yeah, I'm okay.
Kresic, you you immediately try to shut every door possible in your mind. You go through every sort of mental exercise, every calming measure, every thought of like every technique that could be used to resist interrogation, to shut out any impulse or sense, just like closing your eyes tightly so that nothing can be seen through those shields, and just trying to flood your mind with this. Either if you opt for more of a, like, trying to just flood your mind with a blank static, or just trying to go absolutely quiet, you make an attempt at that. In spite of your efforts, you feel a gentle voice saying, You don't seem like you're in a mood to share.
No.
Okay, that makes us sad. We like the stories, and not everybody likes to share. Would you like stories from us?
Perhaps later. I am very busy now.
Okay. One other question. Are you thirsty?
I wasn't.
A wave of a feeling washes over you from somewhere else. You feel very strange insofar as you get the sensory impression of what it is like to not have scales, but rather flesh and
Disgusting.
a beard. As you get you get the thirsty sense of from and frustration from an old Klingon man. You're really feeling particularly hoarse after that last song. Oh, that was some good memories behind that. Likewise, the one and the discomfort of the biobed, as you feel yourself restrained and in need of more liquids. You haven't drank in days, it feels like, not since the last time that daylight came and you trusted the whatever wispy qualities were about to have gone dormant, to have vanished for a time. You also feel just like you are generally missing the bucket in your room up in the, or rather the, you'd think closet, but you also think room up in the quarters. Your water bucket and your food bucket both feel like they are entirely too far away. All of these feelings hit over you at once. Being thirsty is not good. I remember the first time it was felt. Krusik, you get a flash, and this happens to Dar and Azek as well. You get a flash of something else, something you think humanoid, some ways way doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel particularly Klingon, doesn't feel like anything reptilian. It's something closer to a humanoid analog. There's barely any thought at this point behind it, but more sense of something that once lived, that might have otherwise enjoyed a warm breeze and a nice sunlight on this, but that is overtaken by thirst, by hunger, and by a grim sense that anything they had left was long since depleted, that they would never leave this world, they would never see their home again. That was the first time we learned the words of the stories. We wanted more, but it couldn't give it to us.
So what did you do?
We offered what we could, but it could not sustain it from what we gave willfully. It ceased to tell the stories, and it joined, it left itself and became one with one with us, one with our ground, with our seas. But it came from the sky. We wish to know the sky. That's where you come from.
You do not.
You think not?
I know not.
Well, you definitely come from somewhere out there. We just wish we could know more. Much like you. And that feels directed to Azek, as well as to Dar. And to other voices you feel in the background, but there's... Give me an insight plus command. And I'll say this goes for Kresic, Dar, and Azek.
Oh, great. Some of my best skills.
Yep. Okay, that is 0 successes from Kresic, 3 from Azek. Ray, do you want me to roll for Dar in this case? Or if you are in a position to role play for him. Presuming possibly not, I could give this to Caligo to determine.
Or I just have a little hardware issues.
Ah, gotcha.
I can roll for the Dar.
For your boy. For your son.
Yes.
Would you need me to roll?
Insight plus command.
I see. Go.
2 successes from Dar. So, Kresic, you are having none of this, and I'd say Azek, Dar, the two of you feel his resistance to this whole thing. There is so much being held back, clawed away, and cordoned off. And that Kresic would be atypical, but as you feel something broader, you begin to take in more of an experience, and you feel that, for the most part, the others are much more receptive, be they everything which moves through the water, which is a deeply strange but fascinating sensation, those that fly without the assist of an engine or stabilizer system to maintain a repulsive status, like thrusters to keep you aglide, but rely on their wings instead. Various things that walk on land or tunnel through the ground. The warrior that practices his blade, that tries to teach you there is something to its use, but it is not to their comprehension as of yet. This one's stories remain just out of its grasp. But there is one other voice, one other who refuses to tell their story. Nazak, you get them most vividly. And I think I will expend 2 points of threat to cap off that scene right there. While that goes, I am going to whisper something to you. let's see. I can get us transferred over to, Draven, would you like a scene here?
Absolutely.
All right. So let's see. I will have to put us back in the theater of the mind, as the cargo bay properly isn't well situated. I'm still working on a set for that. But Traven, we find you working alone in the cargo bay. A scanner and a Gorn scanner and a medical grade canister connected to it as you try to get a readout on the nature of this, the nature of the nature of this life form. You have a computer terminal set up. I'd say there's probably like some sort of small personal computer of a sort. Perhaps it is some more of Kressik's technology, his spare parts, or you were able to get something else set up here. I'll make some allowances for that, say that there's some system you could be using for that. At this point, you are looking over various fungicides that would be that he wants you to run simulations on to see if there is an effective way to destroy this compound without killing the host, if possible.
Okay. I'm gonna use what compounds I have available in the cargo and what he might have had. And I'm just gonna start poking and prodding whatever he has, whatever the organism has a reaction to. I'll push harder, and while keeping scans on it to make sure it doesn't multiply or anything like that.
Hmm. Now that is an interesting question, because I think that we'd worked out that the scanner doesn't have like a compartment or anything that you can plug this into. So the canister itself is the canister is otherwise sealed off. I don't know if there's a secure way to inject that without supplemental medical equipment.
Is there like a hose connection? Could I inject like an aerosol into it?
Oh, let's see. I suppose we could always twist the narrative in a manner if we expend either a point of determination, should you have a relevant value, or if you want to buy the that with well, actually, I'll say that based on Joe's success, I will say that you guys can have some momentum. I will give you the 2 points necessary to create an advantage.
Okay. I think that's the advantage I want to take, to be able to inject different chemicals into the canister.
Okay. Beforehand, give me, let's call this a reason plus medicine roll to test out what options you have. I will ask you for a difficulty 2 roll. I will go so far as to say that since Kressik had sent along the list, he can assist with reason plus medicine.
I would love to.
Now, I'm thinking here as to whether you're, I will be a kind GM, particularly since momentum is low, and I will allow you to apply your augmented ability here. Because of that, though, I think that that might actually mean.
Would that also increase Traven's complication range?
I'm pondering whether to do exactly that, because in the process of using that augmented ability, narratively speaking, you might be sending him risky options, and that could have unintended effects on his own efforts, particularly since he's not necessarily as medically equipped to second guess in that same way. I will I will tell you what. I will curtail it here. I will allow its use. I will only have it affect your role here, Krosik.
Suspicious,
my,
but I'll take it.
Will my botany focus apply?
Well, I think that comes close enough. I guess mycology is technically a more direct exploration of this, but it's somewhere sufficiently in between. Or you've seen it manifest with plant life, so that could help your study.
I'm gonna use one of my determinations. For honor and glory, I can't let my warriors die because without them, I'm nothing.
I will accept that.
I'm gonna go for the 2 auto crits at the beginning.
Very well. You receive the automatic critical success, and then you may roll the reason plus medicine. That gives you
Oh, you needed that.
a third success there. And that will give you 1 success multiplied by 2 based on the augmented ability. So that will go up to 5 successes. And I'm just going to double check and see how nice I was. That was a 17 right there, so I don't think that would have quite complicated, but not without me spending more threat to do so.
Yeah, it would not have.
Yeah.
Because my complication range is 18.
Yep. So, Traven, you start running the scans, and with the advantage that you've bought, we'll say that you are able to start injecting different samples in there. I will say, before we get to the results of that, this was a difficulty 2 task. You came out with a total of 5 successes, so you take 3 points of momentum in addition to succeeding. Whoever would like to keep track, you are welcome to draw 3 momentum at your leisure.
I got her.
Much appreciated. Draven, the wispy, this wispy life form here appears mostly resistant to other forms of fungal or antifungal sort of remedies here. It's partly probably to do with the fact that this is largely an analog, which means that while it operates on some similar mechanisms, the substance that you are using is either not properly toxic to them, doesn't affect a proper mechanism in the right way, or doesn't do so in quite the same way. As I'd say that based on the computer simulations you're drawing up, the most effective options seem like, if administered in a way to basically cure someone, it is very likely they would also cure or severely injure the host as well as the infected individual.
Say that last bit. Say that last bit one more time. I'm so sorry.
Quite all right. It seems like you would be as likely to, with the most effective options, would very likely kill or cause severe injury, particularly brain injury, to the host as well as the entity. The most middle of the road sort of things you find at least inhibits growth, but doesn't seem to kill the thing outright.
It doesn't. What if I highly concentrated it? At this point, I'm no longer looking for if it might kill the patient. I'm looking for something that will kill these. Patient aside, because it looks like. So now I'm going for a more threatening thing. If I can't get them to leave normally, I'm going to convince them to leave by killing them all with the threat of killing them all off.
Well, I think that let's see. Yeah, I'll even though this is a more medicine related task, you are functionally playing science officer here, so I will be generous enough to give you the an answer to the question that you do think there are ways to make the host inhospitable, ways that would basically make them highly feverish or otherwise, you know, adjusting like blood chemistry in some ways that would, otherwise make people ill. It's still a lot of deeply unpleasant treatment, though without live exposure, without a live sample, the computer results are inconclusive as to whether it would exactly kill the thing.
I send what I have to Kresic, and I say, I know it looks bad, but let the organisms know what I'm working on and see what they have to say about it. Because I will, if it comes down to it, kill every single organism on this ship to contain this quarantine. I will do whatever is necessary, and I will work to kill every organism on the planet.
This is a shipwide communication.
No, just to Kresic. Just
Okay.
to Kresic. I'm
Okay.
not causing panic.
Okay. I needed to know that.
Yes, I think we all like that clarification, regardless of how funny it is, or would be. Let's take that back to sickbay for a moment. And yeah, Kresik like looking over the telemetry and seeing what Traven has been able to eke out and what little he's getting with the exposure. It does suggest an overzealous, but possibly effective means of treating treating these the wisps, if you will, these manifestations of the entity here. But it does all come at the cost of very likely doing your patients harm.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Traven, thank you for this information. Are you one organism? Many? How do you work?
You're talking to me or the organism?
The organism, obviously.
Well, I'm trying to understand. I mean, we are in some ways we are many voices, and we find new ways to encounter, to meet. We are how best do we may we share more with you?
No, not yet.
Okay. It is we will try to relate, but these words, this Klingon, yes, these words are strange to us. We understand increasingly comes from what comes from the others, what we encounter with those who will share with us, those who will tell us stories. Sometimes we do not understand all, and other times we ask so much, and it seems much on those that we join, and we must prevent our voice from drowning out the one. Oh.
So you do not seek to take over those who you collect your stories from.
Take over.
You do not wish for them to become as you are.
They become some part of us in the way that Azek does, and Dar does, and that you do, that those on the surface do. They have a voice in among the many, but their voice must still stand, for their voice must be able to tell a story when they are ready to do so.
And what will you do when they have no stories left to tell?
Well, then they go on and they tell more stories and learn more stories, experience more. They live as the lives and the cycles of as they would.
And you would live with them?
Yes. We would know that which is beyond the skies. You must understand, we know the story of that which lies here with us under the water, and all of those things in their different facets, but we have seen those stories many a time. You get the sensation, Kresic, once again, just, these are lighter flashes, less overbearing, but you get the vague sensation of what it is like to be, to feel completely natural being in water, to be encased in it, to swim as a fish would, to crawl about as perhaps some crustacean analog. You get the sense of something very in great depths of darkness, but knowing perfectly where it is, and very near something quite warm. It's hard to describe it. You'd think something much softer and gelatinous, but you get a diverse array of those. And we have lived those stories many a time, but when we have nothing more to learn, we are still with them, and they still live on. They do as they will. We would not stop that.
And you, how do you live on?
We live on by spreading our voice to all those that live, and that will share in some way. That is how we spread, how we conceive how we exist. Kresic, for a moment, there is, actually, I'll ask, would you care to spend a token either of momentum or to give me a point of threat to obtain information on this next bit?
I would love to. Can I spend a point of momentum, Azek?
It's yours.
Thank you, buddy.
Kresic, you get a...
I get your Gok pocket next the next feeding time.
That's fine.
And nothing of value is lost. But yes, Kresic, you get a momentary flash of a bird of prey as you sit aboard the sensor station. The oranges and blacks of the computer screen something a little more modern than what you're used to, actually, compared to the Yon, displaying the sensor readout of the island planet below that you have arrived at. Raleigh, energy field. I believe we have tracked our quarry to an island on this planet here. Vague emissions suggest that while their craft exploded, a transporter beam set them down on this island in the northern hemisphere. Difficult to discern their exact location, however, due to persistence of an energy field. Unknown origin. The linkage, Kresic, that seems to come to mind, I'm actually going to slightly amend that. The perspective seems to have come from the captain of that ship, who hears that, and perhaps sometime later, as he sits on the island and prepares the next bit of the next morsel of food he is going to eat at his camp. He comes to understand at some point that field and these voices, that which shares the stories, might have been something that works in tandem. It was a distinct possibility in his mind.
Have any of you ever left this world?
No, we've never had the chance. Only one came before the others, and the others that came from the sky, these Klingons, one of them who would not embrace our voice, who was not yet able to join us, he said he would not have it. He did things to his ship. He brought it down. Those that were still there, they did not understand. We couldn't understand why would they do that. They are not meant to be under the water in the same way as those that share the other stories. Those that we get from the water. They did not like it. There is
Oh, go ahead, please.
There is a momentary flash of, though, something that you feel it's less intentional. They deliberately try to hold it back, but you get the flash of, like, the interior of the bird of prey flooding with water, and those crew members that are around trying to understand what is going on, and their reaction somewhat confounded, as much by the voices of the many as by the fellow crew. Something about their reaction not fully congruous with how you would expect a Klingon to react in this case. Or like they try to struggle to get out, but the ship has been so thoroughly sabotaged. You are spared the experience up to the point where they would have drowned, however. These voices do not force any of you to undergo that.
You connected with these individuals without their agreeing to it. There are many who would rather die than allow such a breach in control to occur.
There's a moment of pause and a moment of thought. We The others, we could see something like that. So to gain more stories, we would need to be more... We would need to use care if we left the skies. We would need to find those that would be willing to share their story before they did this.
That is correct.
I see. We see. Yes. You are resistant to much. You do not want to share your story. We can try to grant space to not overwhelm you with the voice, to not see as they search for a word. You feel as if there's an effort to reach out to any of the others passively. That was how one put it, such that there's a Klingon word for it, or maybe more the sensation. Basically, they try to give you they try to impart the idea of they need to they will try to give you as much distance or isolation from the one, at the very least, to keep the voice which follows you more quiet.
As you heard, there are those on this ship that would rather kill everything than let you leave this planet. You are in danger so long as you remain aboard this ship and this crew.
Kresic, you get a wave of something that you cannot quite fathom as you express the basically the matter of fact, the idea of committing some sort of violence, and you realize it doesn't make a lick of sense to you whatsoever. It was not will that. It does nothing to sustain the lives, to preserve the cycle. That is strange.
There are many strange beings aboard this vessel, as you are aware.
Can we understand them?
Kresic to Captain. Kresic to Tabok.
I'm sorry, sir. He's just got down to the surface. I've beamed him down just moments ago. Oh wait, that's Doctor. Yes, sorry. And I am going to spend the 2 points of threat to close out that scene.
Perfect.
While we're doing this, Raldar, just to have this going on in the background, I am going to ask you for a control plus engineering roll. Actually, we're going to make this one a control plus, or rather, a reason plus engineering roll. I'm going to run this in the form of a gated task instead to help set up the possible solution, and we'll come back after another one of these tasks here. Just want that running concurrently.
I see. All right.
The difficulty on this task with the resources you have, I will give you a difficulty of 2 on that roll.
All right. I feel determined unless someone... Yeah, I got this. I assume I can use...
The ship can assist you with computers and engineering. If Kelshaw, who is also there, wants to assist, then same thing, reason plus engineering.
Reason and engineering, gotcha.
Yep.
And I assume computers or shipboard tactical systems.
Absolutely.
Nope.
This will help you work out the solution here.
Jury rigging?
I'll let that
There we
apply.
I do have that, but I don't need it.
Yep. Okay. 4 successes without the ship, which if somebody else wants to get that, save for Tabak, I will, as he is about to be busy with the scene, we'll resolve that in a moment. I'll say right now you are at least getting 2 points of momentum going into the scene, however.
I can roll for the ship real quick if you want me to.
Go ahead.
What was the roll?
Computers plus engineering. All right, that gives
Wow.
yeah, 2 additional successes, so that actually means you are going to have 4 points of momentum incoming. That should actually fill you up. So it is on that note as Raldar works out the solution here, or a solution, that Tabak materializes in the crater of the long dormant volcano, the top of the like in the uppermost part of the island. The yawn had descended a bit just to give you that extra bit of ease to beam down, and I'm just going to say that you are able to make it here without too much difficulty. You see a warrior in very basic sort of like a lot of bits of the uniform have kind of been cast aside, so it's a very basic sort of thing. It suggests he is a warrior of a house, and what you can see that would identify him does conform to the one time you met a warrior of the House of Kurath.
Okay.
They were the up-and-comers who were present at Gleden 2. Above board, good chance they schemed with Votos. Or Votosh.
What's he doing?
He is just basically doing the armed version of... he's practicing an armed form of Mokbara, basically. Very careful, telegraphed like movements of the Batleth. Not moving at any speed that could cause injury, but that are meant to showcase form, essentially.
Does he respond to my arrival?
He does not pay you mind as you materialize. This is that is about how Raldar had said at first. Up until he paid him greeting, he ignored you, or he ignored them previously, as he does you right now.
Who are you?
The warrior stops, plants the batleth, one end of the batleth in the ground, and turns to face you. I am training.
That is what you are doing. What is your name?
Casts aside and tries to... wait. There are a set of names I've heard. Azek?
Your name.
Dar?
Oh.
Shuval?
That is your name. What house do you serve?
Where did I hear that name? I served the House of Kurath. Yes, that is the story. We all do.
The story It is not a story. It is your life. It is who and what you are.
He kind of looks a bit puzzled at the moment. And you, stranger, what is your name?
I am Tabak of the House of Cord.
And have you come to share your story as well, or... Oh, no, you are in the suit. You are looking for someone. Like the others. That was the story they told.
And that is who I seek. Why are you doing this?
It must understand, he says, bringing the sword up to, like, where it can be grasped both ways and, like, shaking it forward. It must understand why. It must understand the purpose of this, and...
A weapon's purpose is to kill.
That is the purpose, and... But why would you do that? It must understand...
You answer that question. Why do Klingon warriors kill?
He seems puzzled.
I speak to the Klingon warrior. Why do you kill?
And there was a reason, there's a purpose behind it.
We kill our enemies in combat. We kill to defend ourselves. We kill to protect that we hold dear. Our families, our houses, our empire.
This blade has been used for that, but the ones it killed, they did not come. They did not seek empire or their families or to harm their lives.
We also kill to conquer.
That does not make sense.
Does this not make sense to the Klingon?
No. Yes. No. Oh, he, like, places a hand to his forehead. It needs to understand this, but...
It needs to understand that it is an invader. It is trying to conquer the Klingon warrior. And the Klingon warrior must fight. It must defend itself. It must defend itself and its people and its house and its empire. The Klingon must understand that it has been attacked. It has had its will taken from it. It has been assaulted by something alien. This thing may not understand what it has done, but it needs to know that what it has done is a violation. And it cannot stand. It must not stand.
They can...
Klingon must tell it that.
The doctor has already explained, he says, getting a bit more clear. The voices can never truly let the one fade away. They can.
Why?
Because we all have a story to tell.
Our lives are not stories for others. They are for us and Klingons. Anything else is theft.
They do not take what we do not give willingly. What I've given willingly, he says. A little more steady now.
Did you understand why they asked?
Yes.
Did you
Yes.
understand that it invaded your body to ask you in the first place? It attacked you. It tried to steal your warrior's heart from you.
I am trying to understand it, but it is like a child. It knows nothing. It knows virtually nothing. Not even a child. It is one like an
Even a child knows not to steal, or there are consequences.
simpler than that. This thing has not encountered life like us before. Other Klingons, or maybe once, but it's too faint, too faded for it to gain full understanding. It does not know the warrior's heart. Yes, that is what I was trying to explain to it. Why we must fight. I thought if I could explain, if I could persuade it, then it would understand. It would allow use of the blade. I could kill the treacherous one, if it will let me know where it is. But no.
What treacherous one?
One who will not share his story, who resists them still.
No, I speak to the Klingon.
And I speak with my own voice on that. But it knows something of it. It isn't it. The voices have it too. But it will not share. He says, he drops the batleth. I cannot bring myself to harm it even with that.
To harm what?
The treacherous
The treacherous one? Then what good is a warrior who cannot attack a foe?
That is why
they have stolen from you.
They must understand.
If you cannot fight an enemy simply because one of these blue fuzzy things is inside of it, then you are no use as a warrior anymore, are you? You cannot fight your enemies. They have stolen your glory and your honor from you.
He pauses for a moment and looks down at the blade. That is why they must learn the purpose of the blade. He picks it up and he's going to resume his, basically his exercises. If they can learn the way of the blade, they can learn the need to fight.
Let him go.
Yeah. As you were patched, as you get this, Kresik, Tabak, a signal patches, comes in from the ship. I imagine, Kresik, you were prepared to reach out at this point.
Yes.
So let me just get this maxed out a moment, and your wrist communicator sets off.
Do you want? I am busy.
I have made contact with the organism.
So I have been informed.
The vessel that is here was sent to find someone.
Same as us.
They have been connected the same way that we have. to this organism. What is our purpose with this being we are seeking to find?
Recovery.
Kresic, as you get this, the voice, which is trying to be restrained, does let you, and let's Azek for that matter, and Dar and the others know. This one, he wants violence. He presses them. We can leave them be, but we would not. We do not want a story that is not willingly told, but we do not have this in us. And basically, the expression that it is, they cannot let go what they are already in.
Why not?
Do you say that out loud?
Yes.
Or is this just in your head?
I say that out loud.
Why not? Why not what?
Apologies, I'm talking to the voices in my head.
It is. We know that it is never done, and we know not how. We have no way.
You have no way, or you have never tried?
You wish for it to sever it, to silence a voice, to sever. There's never been a way that did not mean a life naturally running its course. We could not fathom silencing a voice of our own. That does not further life. That does not further a story. They pull open the session notes. It's bad for the plot. It's against our whole character arc thing.
But the plot.
Yeah, I will say, Raldar, if you want to get in on the comm line here, you can also you can send a message.
Yes.
A secondary ping Tabak comes through. You have someone holding on the other line.
What?
My lord, I believe I have found a way to disrupt the energy field.
Good. Start with sickbay.
Understood.
Captain,
What?
I could use this. I could speak to this and locate this, who it is you are searching for, as our goal is recovery and not violence.
Raldar, hold on for a moment. Kresic, ask quickly. And then I would have you tell it something. But ask quickly.
Voice in my head. Do you have... What are you known by? Voice in my head. Before you heard other stories.
There isn't really anything that can be expressed in words to answer that. But you get a vague sense of just something, you get a vague imparted sensation of the origin, which ties back to something with I almost guess like something with the jellyfish, like creature that you were momentarily exposed to. Something very near the the bottom of this ocean, near some very warm vents. There's something that took root there, in a sense. Before their language evolved, there's something that very primal that's kind of rooted there. Something that gives you a vague semblance of a community or a choir. That's as close as your mind can get to linking anything to it. But as they say, we did not have the name before the words. This is a new means of experience and communication.
I see. There is one on the planet that we have come to bring with us to the stars. We need to find him. Can you help?
It may be the one that is currently resisting them.
He doesn't want to share his story, though.
He cannot share his story. It is not his nature to share stories.
I'm sorry, Taybok, are you infected?
No, sorry. My bad. I apologize.
I do not know why that is, but I have theories. But you do know where he is.
And in that moment, Azek, I think that you would be the one to answer this question.
I have a theory. It doesn't matter. We're gonna figure this story out. Now bear with me. If you see some kind of cave or underground place, not the ship that is underwater, but something else.
You get the so Azek, your dulcet tones fill Kressik's mind as well as Dar's mind, and all of those of the connected to the choir, and indeed it brings a slight smile to the face of the captain in the sort of valley area, for he looks as he is bringing more firewood up, he looks to where the river seems to flow into a small inland cave beneath the volcano. He never made it that far before he questioned what he was doing here, why he would ever commit to killing this person. It does not serve to further life, not to further the story. Not when he still has stories he might wish to tell one day, if he so chooses. No, better to let that one live, and to live himself, and to retain what they have here. So that voice, based on all of that, everyone who is connected is able to first take those images from where the away team had been earlier. Based on Azek, you would have seen this on the map when you're on the bridge. You are able to plot out. Let's move this here. In your collective mind's eye, the choir, which is only too happy to point out, there is a cavern deeper in the island. There's a cavern that would lead to an area deeper in the island, and indeed, as Kressik, you establish that this is not for anything violent. They are all... they don't give you anything from this Klingon, but they do at least give you the sensation of saying you are on the right track.
Did you hear any of that vocalizing through the comms, Tavok?
Unfortunately, yes.
My
I'm
apologies.
assuming there's a cave nearby.
Yes, the cave is by an old Klingon. A captain, I believe.
Yes. We've seen him. We were speaking to him before we beamed back up to the ship.
I see. Well, that is where, likely within that cave, your target is located. Now, what did you wish me to say?
These things want to hear the life. They want to hear the life stories of the people they have bonded to, yes?
That is correct.
This warrior that I've been speaking to here in this caldera, he can do nothing but Mokbara.
He is very
They
committed.
will not let him go. He is stuck doing this. When will he eat? When will he sleep? When will he be able to gain more glory and honor? He will have no life. He will have no new stories. And if he cannot fight someone who is also infected by this, and if that someone is an enemy, they have stolen from him his honor. They have taken from him his very Klingon heart. He is no longer alive. He no longer lives if they have taken his heart. I will give you 5 minutes to explain it to these things before I take the next step. Explain it to them.
I will try, Captain.
And I turn off the comm and just leave this dude to his exercises.
Yep.
And I start making my way out of the caldera through that little crack in the wall to go down to the cave.
Okay.
Making my way downtown.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
That's what I was looking for. His Klingon Tai Chi. Leave him to that.
Yep. So let's see. Just working out things here because I feel like we are very much in the home stretch here.
Well, it's 9:52.
Yes. I think we might be able to wrap this up here.
It's only
So-
8:52 here, so bleh.
Bleh. Tabak, you make your as you begin your quick descent, finding the most expedient way down. A quick intercut back to the. I'll say. I don't know. I don't want to overwhelm or put too much on the dock, particularly when Traven and Isaac are also up there to do things, and Ray hasn't had a chance to do any spectacular DAR type stuff.
Well, if everybody who heard what I told, well, all of them would have heard what I told Kresik, they could all form their own little mini choir to try to explain it to them. Hello?
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would Isaac be able to communicate with the thing in his head without
Without
speaking?
singing? Yeah. Or I guess you could.
Without speaking.
Oh yeah, you could you could avoid saying things if you deemed this to be something that you keep to yourself. Then that might be a you would have to expressly note that, I'll say.
Okay, so I am expressing this silently to the voice in Azek's head.
And not looking to share with the rest of them that are linked. Would that be
Correct.
okay?
So you want a story, correct?
Oh yes, yes. We do like the stories.
And upon telling you this story, none of what I am about to tell you gets to the rest of my crew.
Well, if this is difficult. We normally would not deprive the voices, the other voices. They could listen, and suppose the choir. Yes, that is the word that the Kresic settles on. So we we could keep this. We could avoid sharing this story with just only the voices of those who are connected, or they're trying to work out basically, like they're confirming you don't want the player characters to know a story, whilst also basically judging whether you are looking to restrict the voice, or like allow everyone else on the planet or the rest of the entity to know.
It's not so much the entity that I want to know what I'm trying to convey. If they have any visual in my head, they would see a big door that is sealed shut that is slightly cracked as a lot of information is behind it. And I just don't want the crew of the Yon to figure out what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, I'd accept that.
On a side note, um, because you're dealing with consciences here, would the one-armed Azek play a part in this as well? Would his conscience be there too?
That depends very highly on the whether he is linked in with this whole situation. Because as I
That's
understand it, it
that's
was
on
everybody
that's
in
on
sickbay
you.
that was. I
Yeah.
don't think so, because like only the people that were in sickbay were exposed.
Okay. Okay. Then in my mind's head, and this will be a good way to close out the session if you so choose. I will go into the entire backstory of everything that happened before the Darkest Nebula to Azek, two armed Azek, and DuPont to our arrival, um, which is kind of a grand, the grand story. And I'll embellish it some, so it'll probably take a roll to actually do this. But I'm going to embellish it some just in case the rest of the crew does happen to get wind of it. And that way it comes off as more like it's just a grand tale, not actual fact to the crew. But to these guys, it should be a really intriguing story that I'm hoping will distract them while Tabak does his thing.
Okay, yeah, I will say that you very firmly have a lot of their attention right now. Um, that like the popcorn is out, metaphorically speaking. Um, I'd say it even goes so far. Kresic, Dar, the two of you would feel that there's something kind of pulling it away, or there's a more intense focus. They actually are trying to draw back a bit on this. Meanwhile, Tabak, having scaled down into the valley area, you see the other Klingon, the captain, setting to like some sort of very simple work, setting up, making sure that his encampment is well prevent flames are running. You step down into an area based on the map that, like, there appears to be a small cavern indeed that would take you under the volcano here of sorts. From what you are getting a readout on, there's a lot of interference from the energy field that seems to interlace possibly into like the root work of all the plant life. So it's no wonder your sensors didn't pick up anything at this depth. That, and there are probably some minerals here that aren't particularly good for that. Before you get in too close, your communicator once again activates.
Taybok.
Yes.
The process is not precise enough to solely target the sick bay. I would have to collapse the entire planetary field using a tachyon beam from the main deflector.
So you would have to destroy all of it, not just what's on the ship.
That is correct. It is ready to fire on your order.
Would it also affect what's in sickbay?
Given that they are connected, most likely.
Proceed.
Understood.
Taybok, as you wade in, Kresic, it's a little disconcerting to have felt the voices in the first place, but now to actually feel it, trying to focus in on Azek, you get a sense it might be, but it's very difficult to say. It's very weird and extremely, just very weird is really the only way to put it. You feel, though the choir is focused, it sort of oscillates with what the voices bring to it. There's a sort of sense that as you get more acclimated, you realize wasn't there before. And something else vibrates through it, something very faint. Another voice, but not through the choir.
Basic. Help.
Just the voices. It's just the voices in the head.
I can feel you. Help me.
Whoa.
Help me.
Kresic, so through the choir's vision for a moment, you feel something dark. Or you can barely make it out through your eyes. Better yet, Ray, would you care to describe just a flash of that?
First there is like the glaring off-putting metal very close to your face, like you're laying on it. It's kind of fuzzy, like you can't quite focus on what you're looking at. And then suddenly there are a pair of boots in your face, and you feel a vast force on your head lifting you up. And then you look into the eyes of a Kazinti you've never seen before. Quiet, you fool. And then you're dropped to the ground and you black out.
And with that fall, you feel a moment of searing pain. You, Dar, Azek, the Klingon, who cries out in surprise and rage, as suddenly there is the feel of like a pinprick needle and an agony, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and then were silenced. And you are all, in your heads, very much alone.
Ezek is trying to wrap his head around a tune that would fit the situation, but the words aren't quite there, and it's just amplifying the darkness that he's feeling with being alone. And all he can think about is the other Azek.
Kresic, a moment's inspiration tells you to check your medical readings, and you can confirm that the tissue that was beginning to materialize in your prefrontal cortex has effectively shorted out. It is inert. It gives off no energy readings, no biological activity. Any material, any code, anything of the sort that's imprinted appears to be deteriorating.
Kresic to Traven.
Draven here.
The sample. Is it
Yep.
still alive?
We'll cut things off in sick bay. Let's move this up to the bridge for a moment, which for our purposes, Raldar, I will say that you elected to use the proper targeting interface from the bridge in order to execute this.
It's just a lock, you know.
Vopri turns from his station. Just, the Tachyon emissions have ruptured the subspace beyond. I am reading a collapse. There is a much greater ease of readouts. I have a signal on the captain and of Tabok. He appears to be near a biosign. I could not detect it previously.
I am glad it worked out according to plan. Scan the ship for any additional presence of the energy field or contaminants.
It appears the only sources we knew of in the medical bay where I have concentrated sensors. There are no signs of that present there.
Life support is clear. Good.
Tabok to the yawn. Tabok to the yawn. Two to beam up now.
Relaying
You heard him.
Relaying to transporter room. And with that, as Tabok brings his quarry back to the yawn, and the raptor begins to make its escape course, you leave this unnamed world, the life that remains on it. Although the choir is silenced, one voice may yet cry out, if only to ask why. And I think that is where we will leave tonight's session. So, for all the rest of you in the archive here, this is where we are going to leave off for the evening. So, thank you for jumping in. I hope that you enjoyed the rest of this episode here. We will be back next week. If you guys ever want to join us live, we run these games live on twitch.tv/GM in the Great Barrier on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We generally go to 10 Eastern. We went just a little later tonight. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed, and we hope that you check us out later. So we'll catch you around. Till then, hopla.